My name is Ray Ray. All right. Welcome to Ray Ray Stories. Seems like people have been calling me asshole my whole life. I've never thought I was an asshole, but looking back, I guess there might have been some truth to it. Welcome to Ray Ray Stories. All right, the first story that I'm going to tell you guys and share with you guys is, you know, it's what I like to call, I'm so shy. All right, I call this one the Sunday paper. Well, when I was a little kid, I was a fat little kid. You know, I'm fat right now too, but that's another story. Anyway, when I was a little kid, I had to be about 11, 12 years old. I wanted a paper route, and I kept begging my dad. And so the paper route, the place where you pick up the newspapers, was it was like 2 miles away from my house. So I used to have to get up, take my little red wagon, Detroit Free Press wagon, and walk all the way the 2 miles to the place. Stack up, put all the inserts in the newspaper, and then I used to chug the shit, fill up my little wagon, and then I used to chug my ass back home to my block. My route started when I hit my block. You know, it was on the street I was. So I deliver all the newspapers, and you know, it was cool at first. And then it started getting cold. And then I was like, and then I had to get up early to get the damn newspapers and shit. That wasn't no fun. But then when it started getting cold, I didn't like the cold. I've never liked the cold. And so I used to go and I used to cry all the way there, get all my newspapers and cry all the way back. And if it was like snowing and raining, oh my God, it was like I used to cuss out my dad. I'd be crying, and it was just it wasn't fun at all. You know, I don't care how much money I got. I was trying to get extra money for candy and you know, comic books and all that other bullshit. So it got to a point where I really hated the paper out, and but I still was doing it, you know. And if I forgot a paper, I hated it because it was usually an older person in there, like, oh, where's my paper? You know, and I was like, I gave you your paper. Did you check the bushes? So anyway, this one Sunday, and I hated the Sunday paper because it was huge. I couldn't hardly fit all the newspapers on my little wagon. And then if there was snow, I used to have to drag it through the snow and shit because the wheels weren't turned because the snow would stick to them, and it just sucked, you know. And so I remember this one Sunday, it was real cold outside, but there wasn't no snow or nothing. And I went and I got the newspapers, brought them home, and I had them ready to be delivered. And I was messing around, and I didn't have my coat on. I remember, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but I went outside, and as soon as the door closed, I was like, oh fuck, I don't have my key. So I'm like, oh my God, I don't have my key, I don't have my coat. I mean, I can't deliver the newspapers, I'll freeze to death, you know? So I'm thinking, what the hell am I gonna do? You know, I'll go around the house, check all the windows are locked. Of course, I can't sneak or break into my own house. And my dad's at work, and I just don't know what to do. So then immediately, the thought popped in my head. It was like, I'll just go bowling. Bowling alley was like a mile away from my house. So I run to the bowling alley, and it was Saturday morning, so I'm sitting, or Sunday morning, and I'm bowling and I'm having fun. Some of my friends are there, so we're all bowling and I'm having fun and shit. And all of a sudden, I turn around, I throw the ball, and I turn around, and my dad's there. I see my dad walking up, and he did not look happy at all. And so he's like, let's go. I was like, but I gotta finish my game. He's like, let's go. I was like, uh-oh, what do I do now? And so I go, and I was like, that was the hardest walk, you know, the whole time, you know, to the car, because I didn't know what I had done. You know, I was doing shit. So I get to the car, we get in the car, and he was like, how come you didn't deliver those papers? And I was like, I got locked out of the house. I didn't have a code, and I would have froze to death. And he was like grumbling, saying shit under his breath, and I couldn't make it out. And he went to punch me in my leg, but I had this little toy Tonka truck made out of die-cast metal. It was in between my leg and his fist. And so when he hit that motherfucker, it sliced up his knuckle. And so I'm trying hard not to laugh. So I'm like turning away, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Dad. You know, I got locked out of the house. What do you want me to do? So we come around that last corner to our street, and I'm looking in amazement. Everywhere I looked, no matter where I looked, there was newspapers everywhere. Did I forget to mention it was a really windy day? So I go over there, and we pull into our driveway, and there's no newspapers left in the red wagon at all. The little canvas top flew off, and the wind took and distributed all these newspapers all over the neighborhood, in my backyard, up and down the driveway. And my dad was like seething. He was so angry. And I'm just like, I don't know what to say, you know. And so he's like, get in that garage. And I was like, get in the garage? That's a new one. So what's going to happen in the garage? And so I get in the garage, and he closes the garage door. And I'm like, what the hell is about to happen here? You know, because when I close the garage door, that means I'm playing with gasoline, or lighting my little action figures on fire, and putting them in a car, and light the car on fire, and screaming as I push it like, I'm on fire. But something was going to happen. He's looking up in the rafters looking for something, and I don't know what. But the only thing he could find after about 5 minutes of him looking, he finds my old tennis racket, which I never used it, so I guess he decided it's about time we got some use out of it. Man, he told me to bend over, and he proceeded to whoop my ass with that tennis racket. And he beat my ass with that tennis racket until that shit fell apart in his hands. And there was like the strings of the tennis racket were all blown out and all over the floor and shit, you know. And he's like, now get outside and pick up every single one of them newspapers. And I was like, okay. And it was about that time when the first phone call started coming in. Where's my paper? So yeah, that day didn't go so hot. And and then I remember when I went to go check my ass in the bathroom to see how bad it was. I was standing on the tub so I could see my ass in the mirror, and there was all these little square little blinds and shit all over my ass from that tennis racket. And that was a beating that I'll never forget. Of course, it's funny now. Well, thank you. That was the first Ray story, and there'll be more to come. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.